Hey friend, so what should we not be doing as new singers? What are the things that we should really be trying our best to avoid? Right? What are the most common pitfalls that new singers tend to fall into? Well, as a new singer, I'm going to let you know some of my pitfalls that I fell into and how I try to be more mindful and conscious not to do them anymore. Because remember guys, it's all about progress here. Practice makes progress. So let's get right into it. The first pitfall that I noticed myself falling into was taking short, sharp breaths. Now, what does this look like? I'm going to show you. When we go in through our singing, when we're going through our phrasing, when we're singing our lyrics, sometimes, we get to the point where we need to take a breath, but instead of taking an actual, good diaphragmatic breath, where we are filling up our abdominal cavity, our muscles are engaged and contracted, we can feel the air not only, down here, but we can feel it in our back and our sides. It is filling up all down here. Instead of doing good breathing, at least I know for me, when I first started singing, I would take short, sharp breaths, trying to get through the phrase really fast, and that would just usually, end up having me sound like a dying fish. It is really bad because once you take that short, sharp breath, you can't get through the phrase because you don't have enough air and you don't have enough support. These short, sharp breaths are bad not only just for, the reason I just stated previously, but also you're drying out your throat. How are we supposed to sing if our throats are dry? And everything's sounding like this now because we and she and we and that was like a dying fish. Short, sharp breaths are like a killer to singing, especially because, once again, if you have been watching some of my videos, you already know what I say. Good breathing is so oh my goodness, I was gonna say half the battle, but it certainly is not half the battle. Good breathing is definitely a part of the battle. Good breathing is a part of the battle. It is definitely like your foundation. Good breathing is your foundation. That's a good way to put it. Once you have good breath control, that is the foundation. But a common pitfall that people kind of, at least I feel, look over, myself included, is that we don't take into consideration how effective our breathing can be on our singing. And one of the things that, once again, if you record yourself or if you have other people listen to you, if you have voice notes, definitely take some time to sit down and see where you're taking your breaths at and how you're taking your breaths at. This was monumental for me when I first started singing and I started working with someone. And that was the first lesson, before we got into any vocalizing. Well, not the first lesson, maybe the second lesson. We'll say the second lesson. The first lesson was a whole bunch of emotional questions that made me think. But the second lesson was definitely about breath. And as I look back on my own recordings, I was I do this really bad habit, this really, this pitfall of taking short breaths, and then I'm trying to get to the next lyric or the next verse and I can't do it because now everything's like this. Oh, forget it, if I try to run, if I try to it'll come out just like that. All sloppy and messed up, and the notes will be all over the place because I did not set up my foundation with a good diaphragmatic breath. So that's the first pitfall. It's taking short, sharp breaths. We are going to be very conscious of that going forward. The second pitfall that I used to fall into is tilting my head back. It took so long to break this habit of trying to reach a note or trying to do a big a big phrase, or as the song builds up and you get into that point where you have to hit that money note, and trying to reach for the note with my neck or throwing my head back like this, and not only does it hurt to try to squeeze air through your vocal folds, and your vocal folds are like this because it's like everything's tight now like that. Not only does it hurt, once again, no air comes out, so you're not even actually getting to the note that you need to get to. So you're just hurting yourself. Basically, tilting your head back is not like the way to reach the notes. Right? This is what our practices are for. This is when we are, whether you're at home, whether you are doing your practices on the way to work, whether you just have time to yourself, whether you have, your own special place, whatever may have you, but that's what that time is supposed to be used for. You look back on your recordings and say, hey, I can't get to this note safely. I can't get to this note effectively. It hurts when I try to get to this note. Oh my goodness, I notice that when I do it, my shoulders go up and I'm tense. Or like I try to go up the scale and like my eyes are doing this. And like things are getting tense. Once again, for me it was throwing my head back and putting my shoulders up. Like posture is another, like it goes hand in hand with breathing. So if your posture isn't good, once again, your air is not moving, and we need that air to actually create the sound. And not only to create the sound, but to support the notes that we are trying to reach. Especially on some of them bigger notes where you have to like know how much air to release and how much pressure to have. Like it's, oh my goodness. It's a lot. But like once you actually start building up the habit of like recording yourself, or even looking in the mirror, you don't even have to record yourself, just stand in the mirror and sing the song that you're trying to practice, and every time you see yourself going like this or going like this, you readjust yourself. Posture, head back, with a smile, you are taking your diaphragmatic breath, things are engaged, things are contracted, and you are releasing your air as needed without contorting your body to try to reach the note. That is not how we reach our notes, okay? That is not how we do in this, friend. Not this time. We learn it the right way. But that is going to push us into the last pitfall that I have today, and that would be oh my gosh, not moving your body. Once again, this is something I say quite often. Like, singing is not just with your throat. It is with your entire movement, girl. It is something that you should feel from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. Everything should be vibrating. Everything should be moving. Like, it is a, oh my god, it's a workout. It is a workout, especially during your practices, especially when you're learning. At least I know for me, when I, even to this day, when I'm doing some of my like vocal workouts, like it's a challenge sometimes. Like, and I'm like, ooh, like beads of sweat. I'm like, ooh, I'm working up a sweat, but it's fun. I do my practices to work on my wrists, my runs, and my melismas, and the beats are fast, so I'm keeping up with tempo. And then you just can't help but to move your body. And when you move your body, it releases a lot of stress, it releases a lot of tension, and your notes just come out a lot better because you aren't holding so much in. You're not like stiffed up, which also just goes right back into hand with posture and breathing. Like, these are like, what do they call it, a trifecta? These are like the trifecta pitfalls. You fall for one, you fall for the other two. It's three. It's a game out. But we are not going to be doing that this time. Right? So, the common pitfalls that we are going to avoid, because I'm trying my best to avoid them every time I go to practice, every time I go to workout, every time I go to sing, is to not take short, sharp breaths. We are getting a good diaphragmatic breath in. We are making sure that our abdominal muscles are contracted, they are engaged, and we are singing with the right breath control. That's one. The second thing is not tilting our head back and not holding tension in our body. Right? We don't want tension. Tension is the enemy of singers, and we will not be defeated by that. And the third pitfall is, once again, not singing with our entire body, or not remembering that singing is an entire body experience. We should be enjoying the experience, we should be enjoying the feeling. It should be something that radiates from top to bottom. Right? I don't know how to end this video. But yes, guys, let me know any pitfalls that you find yourself falling into, and how do you actually overcome it? Have you like recorded yourself and like caught yourself? Has somebody else caught you and told you was doing something? Like, let me know.